Okay, so I have been collecting bunches of little glitter and solid doodads, and what we're going to do tonight is we are going to stick these together and create these little flower collections, and we are going to create a single circle, plate-sized circle, with all different sizes and different colors of these flower doodads. So I am going to start. First of all, oh, now I just got to move everything off here. I am going to start with, hope I don't lose my track, making this circle. And you probably have seen me do this before. I use an apparatus, like a paper circle, and I trace it, and it's the size of a dinner plate. So if you don't have a big circle tool, you don't have to worry about it. You can use just a dinner plate to do it. I have textured cardstock, which I'm not a fan of when I'm doing sticking gems on. So I'm going to turn my cardstock over, and I'm going to grab that circle, take it off my ring. Here's my rings and my circles. So I'm going to take it off my ring. And I'm just going to center it on the center of the page. So I have a little bit of space. So very lightly going to trace it. Not too heavy. There we go. My idea is to have a picture in this corner, and I think that I want it to be a 4x6. So we'll start there anyway. So I'm going to take my other templates, which are card size or photo size templates, and I think I'm going to have it something like this. And then I'll have a title underneath. So I'm just going to lightly square that off, so I know where my flowers are going to have to go within my circle. So let me just put this back. Now, as far as trying to pre-prepare these flowers, unfortunately, I tried doing double-sided sticky paper, but the sticky stuff gets all over the top of the gems. So literally, it's just going to be preparing and putting them on right on the page, because this is not going to work. So with having said that, I am going to just do start at the beginning and do a couple, and I'm going to start with some small ones. So I like this light orange, and I have a center that looks like that. And because this is a small distance between the flower and the photo, I want to have a smaller group of gems, or not gems, epoxy dots. Now the epoxy dots that I have come in 4 different sizes. So they're super micro, then they're 1 step up, and then the next size is that size, and then the biggest size is probably that size. So if you want a measurement, let me just grab my ruler here. Doing it in imperial, sorry folks. Actually, maybe I'll do it in metric. No, I'll do it in imperial. So that is 2, 4, 6 sixteenths. So the top one is 6/16. The second one is 5/16. The third one is 3/16, and the little guy is 2/16. Okay, is that right? 3/16. Let me just make sure. No, actually, the second last one is 4/16, and then a 16th or 2/16, which is an eighth. Alrighty, so I'm going to put the small one, move those guys over. I'm going to try not to have any colors side by side. I want to spread them out a little bit. I'm going to start with my first glue dot. And if you can see your line through your glue dot, then you have to erase the line underneath, because some of these are very transparent and some are not. So I'm putting the center of the flower right beside the first petal, and then I'm just lightly laying the other petals around it. And I think I'm going to have to just shift these a little bit. To get that last one in there. There we go. And now this last one is going to stick slightly over top of the photograph. So I'm just going to trim off the plastic that's holding it, and get a tiny little piece of repositionable tape, which is here. And I'm just going to stick that on top of the gem so that I know that that's where that goes. Okay, then I'm going to take my next color. That was kind of an orangey peachy color, so I think I'm going to move to do I want to do it? So there is a benefit of doing it chromatically, meaning that you go from, you know, the 6 primary and secondary colors, but I've done that a lot, so I think I'm just going to do random this time and see what happens. I have room now to be able to put in a larger flower, so I'm going to start with this white and a little almost clear gem. And so I got to put the white one on there first, because it's going to touch the other flower and be centered more or less on that line. And then right beside that is going to be the center gem. And then I can just lightly lay these around the outside. And we'll be adding some green foliage in afterwards. We're just going to cut some paper to create that look. And this is never exactly perfect, so we have to move a few things around. And I have a little tool that I use for that. I just want to make sure I don't knock everything off my table. So I think I'm going to twist this around so I can work a little closer to myself. I wanted to show it to you right side up first. Okay, so we are going to move this one slightly there. And this one's going to come a little more there, but not quite. And then, whoop, my tool is very dirty. Hopefully it won't ruin the paper. There we go. And so you're basically just moving them around till they look balanced. Okay, and so there's our first two, and don't forget this is going to go right there when it's done. All right, and now I'm going to pick a different color. Let's go for a greeny blue, and we're going to do a medium-sized one. So I need to have my medium-sized dot touching this flower and centered. Now I don't know exactly how many flowers are going to go around this until I finish the whole layout, and I will probably be able to give you that information prior, because you know I do videotape these now. I don't have the ability to be live on Thursday nights at the moment. So you will have the benefit of having had me already create this. There we go. And we just want to kind of play with that a little so that it looks. And I tried to sort of get the idea of spring, summer flowers, you know, the colors for that. I happen to have a lot of these lying around, so if you don't have as many as I do, don't worry about it. Just use what you have. And if you run out, or you can spread them out and interchange them with other brads and things. But I have a ton of pop dots, so I'm using pop dots. Oops, get that guy. Whoops. Alrighty. So, moving on to, let's see, we've got orange, white, turquoise. Let's try a glittery small one. So I'm going to do purple, a glittery purple. Sorry, things are dropping. All right, so I put my first, my first flower down, and then my center, whoops, there's a little bit of fluff on it. These small ones are a challenge sometimes to play around with. There we go. And then we're just going to sort of lay these out a little bit. And not all dots are created equal, so you want to make sure that you don't stick them down hard until you've played with them to line them up into the space they need to go into. All right, so here's a prime example. I don't need the space in between because these look like they're going to fit perfectly around this little, actually it's a little bit big. There we go. This guy looks very good. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to continue following around the circle. If this finished image will be available on the page as a thumbnail. So if you want to take a screenshot of it to figure out what colors I used and whatnot, you can do that. But I'm just going to continue to go around the circle, minding that I have my rectangle for my 4x6 that I want to keep open. And I'll be back shortly with the finished layout in terms of gems, and then we'll talk about leaves. See you in a few minutes. Okay, so I'm back, and we're just going to finish up this layout, the last three ones together, and hopefully we won't have too much overlapping. If we do, that's okay, because you kind of want to have a little bit of flowers around your layout, your photo. Sorry, I'm losing my brain cells here. Okay, so just quickly going to get this down. It looks really pretty. It's one of, I think out of all of the ones I've done, it's the one that is the prettiest. And I like it on the spring-like paper because that it makes me feel like spring is actually going to happen. Hopefully, without COVID. Well, it won't be without COVID. I guess we all know that by now. All right, so there's one. And now we're going to have the second last one. You get really good and fast the more of these you do. Just a little reorganizing at the last minute. Needs to come in a little. Shift a bit. Alrighty. Now, earlier you saw me flip over the paper because I didn't want it to, I wanted it to have a flat surface to stick on, not a, what do you call it? Oh, I should show you this part too. Not a sticky or a bumpy surface where it would fall off. Okay, so this is going to be the plan for this last one. It will overlap the photograph in the corner. So when I'm picking my photograph, I've got to remember that I need to leave some space there. And open this up just a little bit. There we go. So this is going to be stuck on over top of the photo when we get the photo on there. Oh, lots of little bits and pieces of that clear plastic that goes everywhere. Alright, so I'm going to stick that down with a little bit of tape. Oopsie. There we go. Alright, so there is our finished layout. We've got our spot here, but we now want to put a little bit of greenery in. So I'm suggesting that we do green leaves, and you can simply pull out different greens from the pieces of green that you've been collecting in your little scraps boxes. So I have greens here. I think that's all I really want. And I may have to pull other greens. But I have a little bag of green things, and I also have some already cut green leaves and bits of green. I have some circles that I can certainly cut into green leaves. I have half moons, but we're not going to really play with those too much. Here's some light circles and some olivey green. Don't know if I'm going to use that green. Some more summery type greens. What else is in here? Black, white. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'll just put that to the side. So I want to pick my colors that kind of go with the idea of spring flowers. So I'm going to color match, and I really don't think that color works for this layout, so we're not going into the olives. I have some interesting light greens here. So that's a light green that we might be able to use. I have a couple of different versions of it. So I can bring out those, and these I would make into leaves, even though they're circles. And got some dark green, which would be a good choice as well. So I'll bring a few of those out. Get some smaller circles here. Don't want these really tiny ones. They're just a little too small. And you can make circles from or leaves from any kind of paper. You can freehand them. We probably will use a fair number. Don't want that olive. There we go. This goes back in here. Now I'm not going to use all these leaves, but I'm going to start out with them. And I do have leaves that are already done here. So let's pull those out. Some of them are very small, but I think they might be too small. So let me just see. Yeah, these are way too small. Or maybe not. No, they might work just fine for these little guys. So let me pull a couple of those out for the smaller. And I'll show you how to make these later. Or in a few minutes, actually. Just want to get sort of a small leaf on each of the small flowers. Because they're kind of cute. And let's see if we have any more. Yep, there's one. There's another one. Hopefully I have enough for all the little flowers. Yes, I do. Okay. So little, 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 little. Okay, and little. So I need another one there. There we go. Okay. Now, the next size up, I think, is this size. Is that too big for that one? Maybe. It's a little better for the larger size, maybe. I can narrow that one down a little bit. Oh, these are very big, so I don't want that one. These guys are too big, so I'm going to put those away. Too big. This might work. For the larger one. This might be a little too large. This might work for that one. This is too big. Oh, look, I have even holly. There we go, too big. That might be just a little too big. I can trim them down. These guys, too big. Big, too big, and too big. Okay, so this little one I don't need. Alrighty, so that's a small one for that size. Get a couple of these out, a couple of these out. These guys are going to be too big. And those are light, and these are darker. Try to keep them separated into light, medium, and dark so I have an easier time when I'm going through. And sometimes I divide them into patterned and plain as well. I don't think I've done that at this point. Alrighty, so I think this is a little bit large. So I'm just going to simply trim it a little smaller. There we go. That's garbage. This one again is a little bit large, so I'm just going to simply trim it a little smaller. This is slightly large. I'm going to trim it a little smaller. They don't have to be identical. So now for this size, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to do. Okay. So I'm basically just cutting out of my circle. I normally would have done it with a hole punch. And now I'm going to make some smaller ones for the medium sized. They're going to be a little longer and thinner. There we go. And this is not, I could make another leaf there if I took the time to do it. All right, so where are we at? I need 1, 2, 3 more of the larger ones. So there's 1, 2, and I need 1 more. So I'm going to steal it from here. So here I'm just simply going to round it and cut off those little points. Okay, so that can go here. Awesome. And I can do some smaller ones. Nah, I'll wait on that. Oh, look. I found another little charm. Okay, so back to, so I think that's all the big ones. Big, big, oh, yep, big, 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 big. Now the medium ones. So these all have flowers. That's got one there. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. 1, 2. So where are we here? Let's go on. After a while, I can't even see them anymore. So we're not sticking them where they are. I just am attributing a leaf to each flower at the moment. I'll figure out where I want to put them after a few minutes. And I'm not worried if I'm absolutely equal, just as long as they're slightly smaller. I can see how they look when I get them on the page with the other. And if I don't like them, if they're too big, I can make them smaller. And there we go. Making sure you can see what I'm doing. And just a couple more. Yeah, that's getting a little big, but hey, we'll figure that out in a moment. All right. Leaf, 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 leaf. Leaf. And one more. Beautiful. Alrighty. And I'll adjust that shape. Okay, so that's all I need in terms of leaves. This is a medium color, so I'm going to put it in the medium bin. And I could have put some darks on there, but I think I want to keep the lighter greens. And that's all I need these for, so I'll just put them aside for now. And now we're going to figure out how, and I'll trim those out later into small leaves. Now, we're going to need a little bit of white glue, or a glue pen. to sort these out. So the big ones we want to be quite a bit different than the medium ones and the small ones. This one I'm going to leave because it's narrow enough. This one is a little big, so I am going to trim that a little bit, make it thinner. That's fine. This is a bit wide, so I'm going to make that a little bit thinner. That's fine. This is a bit wide. There we go. That's fine. Just trim that a little. There we go. Now that and that. That's okay. That's okay. This is a little wide. So you just want to kind of pare it down so that they're not, it doesn't all look the same. And that you can see that there's a different in size of leaf. That should be okay. This is a bit round. There we go. And make this a little thinner. And I'm going to just make this a bit thinner. That's fine, that's fine, and this can be just a little bit thinner. There we go. So as you can see now, we have a variety of leaves happening here. They're hand done, so you don't have to worry about regularity. And we are going to now glue them down. So I want to make sure that I've got some balance in top and bottom. So that's top. If this is going to be top, then that's bottom, then that's top, then this should be bottom. And then if that's bottom, then this should be top. And I switch that around, and then that can be bottom, that can be top, bottom, 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 top, and then bottom, top, should be bottom, that should be top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top. Okay, and I think I might have this come out over here. There we go. That might just go right off the page. Or, I could break my rule and put 2 leaves on that one. Not sure how I'm going to finish that, but ultimately that's where we're at. And it adds a whole new look to it. So when you're gluing these on, you want them to go with the flow of the flower. So you're looking circularly. So when you're placing them in to glue them, You want them to give you the flow of a circle. So, and we might have to trim a few. All right, don't really like that there. That's there, and then this one can come out there. Alrighty, this can come out there. It's coming out there because we have there we go. Just playing a little bit with the direction of the leaves, what I'm thinking is the bottom and what I'm thinking is the top. Alrighty. Okay, so I think I'm liking it this way. The only one I'm not sure about is that one there. And I'm actually not too sure about this one here. I think I'm going to move this dot a little bit and get that in there a little bit more. There we go. Now you'll notice these two dot clusters, or three actually, are slightly off. I'm sure you probably didn't at a glance notice it, but it's because I didn't have 5 of one size. So each of these flowers is 5 of one size, and then the one of the slightly smaller size in a different color. Alrighty, so now I am just going to put a little bit of glue, and I think, yeah, and I'm just going to, this glue dries clear so I can play around with it a little bit. Or do I want it coming out of there? So I'm going to take some of that glue off and have it coming out of there. And this one I'm going to have coming out of here. There we go. Not worried about gluing the whole thing down. I just want the base glued because I'm going to slightly turn up the tops. Okay. All right, so that's where I started. All right, so I'm going to continue doing the whole layout again. I will come back and finish up the last couple with you on camera. All right. Okay, so now we're just finishing up. All the leaves are on there. I found this acrylic words that say sparkle and shine. And it's broken, but I'm going to stick it together carefully. So that's going to be my title for this page. And so if we remember where the photo is going to go, let me just get my mat here. So we remember that the 4x6 photo is going to fit in there. So there's going to be a little of this flower and a little of this flower over top of the photo. I've decided that I'm going to use, my niece just recently got married during COVID, and It's we call it the paper wedding because she's going to have another wedding when everything is over, an official party wedding. And so I'm going to have to begin the album I'm making for her wedding is I'm going to have a picture of her and her new husband right here, and it's just going to say Sparkle and Shine, and this will be the finished layout. So here we are, and that's really all I have for you this evening. If you want to add more greenery, you certainly can. Choose, excuse me, choose a heading that kind of goes with the idea of spring or bright colors or flowers, and that's it for the layout. So I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next Thursday. I'm not sure what I'm doing next Thursday yet, but I'm sure it will be something interesting and my take on something that's out there in the world. And we will see you again next Thursday. Don't forget to get your friends to sign on to or subscribe to my channel, as I am really trying hard to get my channel up to 100 people, and I have a little bit of a draw happening. And it's a designed kit designed by me as the draw prize. So please, as soon as I get 100 people, I'm going to make a draw of all those 100 names. So hopefully you will be that person who wins it. So encourage people to subscribe, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.